Scholars. So, last week we talked a little bit about how to navigate Canvas, but I realized that some of you weren't there, or maybe you were doing other things. So I wanted to put this video together, and I'll link it to the front page for you, just so that if you ever get lost or if you're trying to figure out what to do, you can go back to this video and get a quick how-to guide. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start in my sort of fake student view here. My fake student doesn't always have access to everything, but we're going to give it a shot. And we're starting on the front page. Okay, and I want to just reiterate what I had said last week, that if you get lost, go home. Always start at home. Okay, that's the best advice I can give you here. Okay, so what we're going to do is I'm just going to go through the front page, and then I'll click on a few things so that you understand what we're doing. So first of all, when you log into the front page, you're going to be met with some recent announcements. The green dot means that it is something that you need to read. So for example, last week we had to cancel class because I got not one but two flat tires. Alright, so you read through that, and that's pretty much it. Okay, and so what I try to do, I'm going to go back home here. You can go back home by either clicking on the class number or by clicking on these three lines here. They call that the hamburger menu, and then just tapping the home button. Okay, and so I will try, and you can see the green dot has gone away now. If you want to hide this menu to give yourself some more space to read, you can just re-click that menu and it'll disappear. I try to give you guys at least one update per week in Canvas, so that if you missed anything or if you forgot what I said, you know what we're supposed to be doing. Right now, I am not being incredibly strict on due dates, only because I know some of you don't have your materials yet, and others of you are still trying to figure out how to navigate Canvas. So probably starting next week, after everybody's got their laptops, we'll kind of jump into some pretty hard deadlines. But for now, everything that you see on here is sort of a soft deadline for the most part. Okay, so you can see that this little megaphone over here in your to-do list, this little megaphone means that I have added an announcement. That's just something that, you can see it there, that just means that that's something that you need to pay attention to, okay? If we, apparently I can't scroll down and use my marker. Okay. If we scroll down a little bit to the to-do list, you can see here, remember I was telling you, if you see an icon that looks sort of like this, where it's like a piece of paper with a pencil, that's an actual assignment that you need to do. And you can see here, I've got everything in this class is worth 1 point, and there's the due date. So I will be changing the due date on this because I ended up assigning it on Thursday. So I just want you guys to read through that and continue taking notes the way we were doing. Again, we have two other reading assignments here, and I will be changing the due dates on those. We'll do those on Tuesday. Okay, so this just sort of gives you an idea of what's coming up due. But what I don't want you to do is I don't want you to go clicking on these tasks. That's not where I want you to go. So hold off. This is just sort of a reminder of what's due this week. Okay, let's take a look at the rest of the front page. So first of all, if you have questions either about an assignment or about navigating Canvas or looking at something, I encourage you to click here on the community Q&A board. I really envision you guys looking at this at least once or twice a week, because if somebody has a question that you can answer, then I want you to strive to answer the question for them. Okay, and I will also be monitoring this board, so you can click the reply button and scroll down here, and you can see that you can type into this this little box here, and I'm just going to type a little message. And if you wanted to, you could, change the formatting here, anything like that. I don't see that you'll really need to. Later on, when we do our peer review, I may actually ask you guys to come into not necessarily this Q&A board, but a Q&A board and post your rough draft for us to look at. Okay, and so then I'm going to hit reply down here. And now, when you guys log in, you should be able to see this. Of course, mine says test student. Okay? And if you wanted to respond to a message on here, you would hit the reply button under the message. Okay? And I'll just write that. Alright, there we go. Alright, then we're just going to hit reply again. Alright, so just like that. That's how we do this. And then you can kind of see that the conversation is building. Okay, once you're finished in there, you're going to go back to the home page. Again, the easiest thing to do really is to just click on this number 53225 up at the top, and it's going to take you back to the home page. Alright, moving on, I have updated these links. So you will see the syllabus here. You will see links to your textbooks here. If you want to navigate back to a previous unit, you can do that here. I've got your final portfolio essay, your first essay in there. There's no due date on it yet. We'll have to stay flexible with that, and there's no way to submit the essay yet. We'll get to that later, but this way you can kind of read it ahead of time and see what you're supposed to be doing. We're also going to be doing a timed writing assignment pretty shortly here, so this is where those timed writing assignments can be found, and this is also where you can find some tips and tricks on timed writing. And then finally, this is where your community lives. Okay, so if I click here, alright, you'll see a couple of different things. You will see class notes. Class notes are not required in this class, but I do encourage you to add notes. And again, it just works the same as the other discussion board. You click on it, you hit respond, you can type things in, you can use the bulleted lists. So I'll go in here and show you real quick. So if I wanted to add a note or add to my lecture notes, I can use all the formatting tools here. This will make your text bold, this will italicize it, this will underline it. I like to use these for really important ideas or vocabulary that's new. You can highlight your text in different colors. You can also, if you click on these three dots over here, you can use bullet points, or you can number your list if you want to. And if you really mess things up, this will clear all that formatting for you. Okay, so that's just a nice little place. If you took notes in Word, you can just attach those notes here and they will show up as a file. Okay, hit cancel for now. I'll go back up to the top here, go back to the home page. And as we move through the units, I will add more class notes assignments there. Okay, and as I said before, if you get lost, if you forget what you're supposed to be doing, the first thing you want to do is you want to click on this week's activities. So let's do that now. Alright, and you will notice, if you're logging in here for the first time, that some of this stuff is grayed out. If I try to click on this, nothing happens, okay? And so I want you guys to start at the top of the unit. You can see here it says complete all items. So this this little page looking thing here without a pencil means that that's a document that I want you to read. That's a page I would like you to read. And so we're just going to start there, but let me walk through the unit with you. I usually indent assignments that I want you to complete. I have not put due dates on these because we should be going through them together, but I am going to go ahead and put a due date just so that you have a sort of a mark of what you're supposed to be. And you can see again that those are done with the document with the little pencil icon. And everything that we talk about in class, or I'll say most of the things that we talk about in class, are going to be here in these lesson pages. So if you missed some part of the discussion, or if you didn't quite understand, or anything like that, you can use your unit notes, see if anybody's posted notes, but you can also just click through these and read through them. When you come to an assignment that has a due date, like this one, which I will be changing the due date to next Tuesday, you can see that the due date appears here, and once you've gone through the unit, you can click to see everything. Okay? And then generally I try to give you guys a summative assessment at the end. This one is due next week actually, so make sure you get that in. And then you'll see your grammar activities, okay? And so same thing applies here. And you can see here, this little spaceship means that it's an activity you're going to complete in Canvas. This little paper clip means that that's a document that you can look at. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to start at the top of the unit, because that's where we need to start. And it's going to take us to our lesson page. Read through this. If it tells you to click done at the bottom, go ahead and do that. You'll see that there are some links in here. So if I click on a link, it's going to open up in a new page. These are your Cornell notes for reading that we talked about. You can actually download this if you want to. And then if you pull it up, it should show up in your downloads. Okay? And you can open that up in your download file. May take a second, especially for you folks. And if you have Adobe Acrobat, one of the nice things is that you can just type your notes right in here. It is taking a moment though, isn't it? There we go. My internet's slow. And what I've got here is fillable forms that you can use. So if I'm reading on Stephen King, for example, click here. Oh, well, naturally. Alright. And so you can actually just type directly in here if it gives you that option. Okay. So that's kind of a handy little tool. The other thing you can do is you can just use this as a guideline. If you want to write this on your own piece of paper and set it up just like this, the way I showed you guys to fold things up, you can do that as well. When you're done with these little links and attachments, you can just click over here on the close button, okay? And that will give you the option to close it out, and then you're right back where you were, okay? You can hit the next button to move on, and you'll see that the next thing we have is an assignment, okay? A couple of little notes about the assignment, okay? So when you log into an assignment, you're going to see the due date here. Everything is worth 1 point, and this is going to tell you how you need to submit the assignment. So most of the assignments in here are either going to be an attachment that you upload, or they're going to be a text entry. So as we scroll down, you can read the article. So what we're going to do is we're going to click on this again. It's going to open up here. You can download it to read on your own time if you want, just like we did with the Cornell notes. You're going to read through this, right? And when you're finished reading and you've taken notes, you're going to hit close. Make sure that you read through the instructions carefully. So this one says that you're going to write a 1-paragraph response, okay? And so if you click on the Start Assignment, it pops up here, okay? I'm going to sample text submission here, okay? And then when I'm ready, I can put comments in here if I want down at the bottom. You know, I can ask a question or whatever I want to do. And then I'm going to hit Submit Assignment. Okay, and it says up at the top, right here, assignment successfully submitted. Okay, and then you can also see it here. It tells you when you submitted it. It tells you what comments you made, and you can actually click on the submission details. If you want to retry it, you can click New Attempt here, and then you can click on the submission details, and it's going to take you to the submission details page where you can see a couple of different things. Once I've graded it, you'll see it appear here. You can see what you wrote right here. You can see your comment right here, and if I've added any comments, you'll see them here as well. You can also add new comments if you want to. Okay. To get out of here, to go back to the assignment, you can either hit resubmit the assignment, and if you do that, it's going to take you back to the assignment page. Okay. Or the other thing that you can do is you can go up here to the top, and you can click the assignment itself. And there you are. Once you're finished with all of that, you're going to hit next and move on to the next assignment. You can see this is another one. We have the due date, the points, the submission. This one is from your textbook, so you'll need to go into your textbook module. Here are all the instructions that you need. All right. And then when you're ready, and I do want to just note a couple of things. If you're using your trackpad, that's that little thing where you mouse. If you use two fingers together, you can go up and down. Okay? And if you want to open something in a new page, you're going to go up to the link and you're going to use two fingers to click instead of one. So I'll show you the difference. If I click two fingers, I can go here and open this link in a new tab. If I just do one finger and click it, it's just going to open it up there. But I like opening things in a new tab so that I can navigate. So for instance, I might want to come over here to textbooks. I might want to go into my book here or pull up a thing of notes, and then I can kind of go back and forth, right? I can look at the directions while I'm reading my textbook. And since we're in the textbooks, let me show you something interesting about this. Okay, I really think it's a good idea to just download the textbook because it's going to take forever to load. But once you've loaded it, you can see it's going to start loading here. This is a rather large file. Okay, once you've loaded it, you're going to I want to show you these tools really quickly. So this tool, you can move back and forth in the pages. You can even say, write down in your notes, like, oh, this was on this page, and then you can just type it in here. You can also zoom in or out. For instance, if your eyesight isn't great and you want to zoom in to look at the text a little larger or a little smaller, you can do that. And then this button here is going to make it much bigger so that you don't have to kind of look in this tiny little square here. So let me just show you here. So if I'm reading this is pretty cumbersome. What I can do is I can zoom out a little bit, and that makes it a little easier. Alright, I can get to my pages this way. And then I can click on one of these things. Ideally, it's supposed to go straight to the page. The other thing that I can do, though, is I can click on this button here, the arrows, and it's going to make my page a lot bigger. So now if I want to, I can just scroll through these pages until I get to the one I want. I will let you know that the actual book, I think, doesn't begin until about page 15 or so. So you can actually type that in there. Oh, okay, maybe not page 15, although this is the activity that you're going to be working on. So you can actually just scroll through. And again, use your two fingers on your trackpad to scroll up and down. Alright? And if you download this, so I'll go ahead and download it. It may take a second here. Alright, so if I download this and I go to my downloads folder and I open this up in my Acrobat Reader, I can actually annotate the textbook. Okay, so I open it up, and if you're opening it in Adobe, you should have an Adobe Reader on your laptop. And I don't know what yours is going to look like, but what I can do here, and maybe I'll show you guys how to do this, is I can actually comment, and then what's going to happen is I have a highlighter tool, I have a text annotation tool, and I have a pencil tool. So if I wanted to, let me undo that. If I wanted to, I could feasibly, and if you do download this, by the way, you should be able to click on the things in the table of contents and go straight to the chapter. So I could, if I wanted to, highlight some text here, highlight that in yellow. I want to maybe I just want to highlight that. Maybe I want to highlight this. Okay. Another thing you can do is you can make notes. I recommend making notes in a different color. Okay, so I could say avoid plagiarism by citing in my notes. And then if I do that, now my note is going to show up here. Well, it should. Yeah, there we go. Okay. Or I can use the pencil tool if I want to, and I can just circle things that I think are important. If I wanted to do that, that's a little harder to do because you've only got this mouse. But anyways, so that helps you navigate your book a little bit better if you choose to. All right, let's go back home. Okay, so now I've shown you how to get through this week's activities. Remember that we do contract grading in this class, so you can click on this to review that guideline, especially if you weren't here for the first day of class when we went over this. And then finally, remember that every week we're going to do a grammar unit, and so your grammar will always be here. And you can see that, again, you have to go through the first to get to everything. So we're just going to start here, read through the page, take notes if you want to. I usually include a bunch of links here. Not all of them will be active until you've gone through the unit. This is one of those things that you might want to download. It's in your survival guide, though. So you may not have to worry about that too much. I'm going to click next. If you have not already done your diagnostic sentence structure, for these activities, the ones that have the little spaceships next to them, you're just going to click take the survey or start the quiz, and it's going to run you through the questions. You'll answer each question. Okay, so I'm just going to answer one here. Alright, so what component is missing? A complete thought is missing there. I see I just gave you an answer, folks. I'm going to hit submit. It's going to tell me if I didn't answer any questions, so make sure you read this text. Okay, so I'm going to hit submit anyways, just because I'm trying to rush through this. It'll tell you what your current score is. Alright, and you can actually look at the questions and see if you got them correct. Okay? And so it's going to tell you this is what I answered. Was that correct or not? Okay. So that's just a handy way of doing this. I'll go ahead and hit next. It's going to take me to my information on verbs. Okay. I'm going to hit next again, and I'm going to do the activity on verbs. And here you can see the due date, how many questions you're going to answer. There's no time limit on any of these, and for these ones, I always give you as many attempts as you want. So let's go ahead and take the quiz. And again, I always try to include information for you. And that information stays up here as you work on this. So let's say you're going through this and you're not quite sure. You can, again, 2 fingers to right-click this, open it in a new tab. And then what I can do is I can switch back and forth between my lesson and my activity. Alright? For this one, you're just typing things in. So this says, write the verb in the blank at the end of each sentence. So this is not the correct answer. I'm not giving you the correct answers. I'm not giving you the correct answers. Do not copy my work. My work is wrong. Alright, so if I were going to answer each of those, and again, it's going to tell me that I have some unanswered questions because I'm just showing you how to do this. Now, here's the important part about this. First of all, you can take the quiz again, but if I look down here, it's going to tell me, nope, those are the wrong answers. This is the correct answer. Okay? So if I wanted to, I could come up here to the top and I could just take this quiz again. And my highest score will be kept. Okay? Alright, so I think that is all I have for you today. If I think of anything else, I will make sure and post it. The how-to video that you are watching will be in this week's announcements. It will also be, I will just put a link to it on the front page for you. And then if you have any other questions, make sure to go into that community Q&A board and ask away. Alright, thanks so much folks for listening, and I will see you next week.